this may be the last Spider-Man PS4 related video we do.
I mean, yeah, unless there's like news later on where like there's DLC.
There is DLC on the way.
Oh well, then
So
for a little while.
So probably not. Probably not. Yeah, for a little while. Yes, I have completed Spider-Man PS4. Thank you. It took way longer than it should have. In fact, Wednesday night, I was playing it, and I got to a certain point, and of course, I needed to go to bed, so I went ahead and I started to get ready for bed, and then, of course, the next night, I booted back up, and it turns out that I only had, like I was at the end of the game.
Oh.
I was right at the end of the game. Like, if I had played for 15 more minutes, I would have beaten it. Oh, well.
No way to know these things.
No way at all to learn to... Yeah. Anyway. So, PS4. I'd like to go ahead and give my review of Spider-Man 4 PS4. This is going to be minor spoilery. I'm not going to ruin the game. I'm not going to give away major plot points, but there are certain character arcs that I have to discuss that weren't made apparent. But then again, like, you play this game for 20 minutes, you kind of know where things are going to go if you're any kind of Spider-Man fan. So right. I do want to
Everyone
get that
knows
out of the way.
Spider-Man dies at the end.
Dude, I said no spoilers.
Sorry, I just had to get that one out of the way.
All right, so first of all, the game is beautiful. Period. I mean, I don't need to tell you that. You can watch YouTube videos of it and watch the game in action. The game is just super impressive. There's nothing about the game that looks bad, except the boat people
And the puddles. I mean,
man, forget all that.
Okay, yes.
That was one of the worst things to ever complain about because it was so unfounded. They moved some puddles, yes, but they're, again, like
Lots
the
of
dev
puddles.
said, there's other places where there's literally a part of the game where it's raining and the whole road is wet, forming a massive puddle.
Okay, but the boat people thing, man, that's so
boat
funny.
people.
love
I
the
don't
boat people.
I don't know what they were thinking with that. That's kind of, and apparently like there have been all these glitches to like basically keep going like to the edge of the world, and it gets all like glitchy and stuff. So, but other than that, if you just play the game normally, you don't go out to the boats.
You're not looking for little puddles,
right? Everything looks fantastic about the game. Now, I will say that the island of Manhattan that you are on, this is not the first Spider-Man game to have it be open world Manhattan. Gosh. So there's been Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Ultimate Spider-Man, although Ultimate Spider-Man I don't think was on Manhattan. I think it was like in the boroughs, like other areas of New York. So, but I'm going to throw that in there anyway. They did it in Web of Shadows. They did it in Amazing Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2. So this is like, this is the 7th game. Well, we've had open world Spider-Man in New York City. So you think it might be getting a little bit stale. And the island itself does start to feel really small, especially when you're about halfway through the game. Like you kind of feel like you've been everywhere that you really,
even though
need
it's
to go.
The entire island of Manhattan.
Yeah, the island of Manhattan's not very big.
No, okay, never been there. I wouldn't know.
I mean, at least in the game, it's not. It just starts.
It's not actual size.
Not quite actual size, but it's pretty close. But still, you swinging around, like you can get from one end to the other swinging in like less than 5 minutes. So it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a big world, not a big playground, as big a playground as you might expect. But what Insomniac does. They do incorporate a night and day and weather system, but it doesn't work the way you might think. It doesn't like gradually change the time of day. It doesn't gradually start raining. It just changes the time of day based on the part of the story that you're in. Oh. But when they do this, it looks gorgeous. Like the game, like they've got daytime, sunset, or I guess twilight, evening, or just straight up nighttime. They've got it when it's raining at night. They've got it when it's raining during the day, and it's like also foggy. So like you get to see New York in a lot of different
that's cool.
A lot of different ways. So yeah, that's kind of what made it fresh. Even though the game starts to feel a bit small, they do that to freshen it up. So the music is good. It does sound like your typical Spider-Man score, but my problem is it sounds a little bit too much like the movies.
Oh, really?
Just a little bit. In fact,
That's a bad thing?
Well, it's a bad thing in the third act. And with each act that you complete, when you're just swinging around the city, each act has like its own theme that it plays, like that's similar to again freshen it up.
Yeah.
But the third act, like when you're just swinging around, it sounds 70% like the Amazing Spider-Man theme.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I want to hear it now. See if I can recognize it.
Yeah, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but like I just kept thinking like, yeah, this sounds like the Andrew Garfield movies. I'm sorry, but it sounds like just like them. So there was that. Now, as far as sound goes, there is so much dialogue in this game. There's a lot of dialogue spoken. There's a lot of fight banter that goes on, and most of the time, you're not going to hear the same lines twice. There's that much dialogue spoken. And you could be doing the same thing over and over and over again, and he'll just keep saying new lines. It's so
that must
crazy.
have been really fun for the guy, the voice actor.
Or really exhausting.
Well, that was kind of
okay, gotcha.
I mean, it could be fun from that standpoint, but just, I don't know. It sounds like, just sitting there saying little things over and over again, like just differently.
When and it's just like, and even when you just go like later in the game, there's a lot of enemies around the city that you could just fight at random. And I started doing that a little bit, and he was still like saying new lines that I'd never heard before. So that's what was really impressive in the sound department. Now the controls, this is one of the smoothest controlling games I've ever played. Early on, you were introduced to the dodge mechanic that I don't know if you remember,
that's
but at one point
the only thing that you do. I don't know, man. If you don't dodge, you're gonna get shot over and over again.
It feels really good to perfect dodge, and like time slows down, and you like can unlock another move when if you perfect dodge, you automatically like shoot web in the person's eye.
I've never done that.
Yeah. And remember how they told you can dodge if you do a dodge, you can immediately do a jump afterwards. Remember that? So I didn't use that at all until like the third act when you start getting into like the boss, the final boss fights, and it is so satisfying to pull that off because there's like you fight a big enemy at one point, and he does like an attack where he just spins around twice, so you've got to like jump over it twice, and there were a few times where I dodged and it did the perfect dodge, like slow, like bullet time slow down, and then I jumped and it did the same thing because it counted that as a dodge. And whenever you dodge, you of course get a big boost to your focus meter. So that part of the game felt so good for the combat, like dodging. You've been able to dodge in Spider-Man games before, but it just feels really good in this.
I mean, it's a good thing too because you got to do it a lot.
You do, and there's.
It was almost annoying for me when I played like that first level.
Yeah,
like just how much do you have to dodge rather than fight?
They do start the game. The game you do start off very weak and very easily dying, and I'll talk about that a little bit more detail later. But yeah, that is a problem at the beginning of the game, and you unlock stuff to help with that. What else in the controls department? Yeah, the wall crawling. I remember complaining about that in my initial
you can
hands-on.
figure it out.
It's
Weird.
not something that's required all that much. But yeah, anytime I wanted to wall crawl, it just seemed like they wanted me to do something different every time to activate it. And I don't know how you get wall crawling mixed up. Like even bad Spider-Man games. Know how wall crawling is supposed to work.
He's the wall crawler. It's just...
Right. You just make contact with the wall, There are some games that I played where you have to like press circle or press like a certain button to attach to the wall.
Right.
But they still don't have that.
Yeah.
So it's strange. I never got used to wall crawling. And also he can't crawl around certain corners. And you never know what those surfaces are going to be until you get to them. Yeah, again, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So everything makes sense in this game. Like the combat, the upgrades, the gadgets are a fun distraction, but they can make pretty much anytime you start relying on your extra web gadgets, it makes everything really easy.
Okay. So
like, you can just start spamming them, especially late in the game when you have a whole bunch.
So aside from like, so everything makes sense. Like aside from like the wall crawling, there's nothing that's really like, what? Why is this way? This is kind of weird.
Yeah, I not really.
Well, that's good because there are a lot of video games that you can't say that about.
Right, but the wall crawling just sticks out like a sore thumb. It's just like, how did they not get this right when they got so much else like pretty much perfect?
Yeah, it's just Spider-Man. You got that iconic scene from the Sam Raimi, the done. Remember?
Yeah.
He's like climbing up the wall.
And then he goes,
Spider-Man and walls. Yeah, I don't know. That's odd, but I mean, as long as that's like, the only thing.
Control-wise, that's
pretty good.
Really, one of the few things that I can legitimately put a complaint against. But yeah, the combat, you can make it easy. And by the way, I did play the game on amazing difficulty, which is medium. Mm-hmm. That's what I play pretty much every game on. But I am looking forward to New Game Plus, and there's
you're gonna
also,
do that soon?
I'm gonna wait till they do all the DLC.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And then I'm gonna go, and I think the first DLC pack lands soon. But I've gone back to playing Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Oh, nice.
And I just started replaying because I lost all my save files, all that stuff happened, so yada yada. So what else So we talked about the gadgets can make any fight a little bit too easy. The thing is you do have to. What I liked about it is there's a lot that they borrowed from RPGs with this. Like there's plenty of side stuff to do.
Yeah. And
side quests and side missions will give you tokens. Like there's, I want to say 6 different tokens. Like there's research tokens, crime tokens, base tokens that you can only get by doing certain side missions. And there's certain upgrades that you have to pay with those tokens. So if you don't do any side missions, there are certain gadgets and there are certain upgrades to gadgets that you simply will not be able to buy. It doesn't matter, how much you do other stuff.
So how does it work? Like, if you do all of the side missions, do you end up with like just the right amount of all those tokens?
You end up
buy
with
everything?
With way more.
Oh, okay.
With way more. So you don't.
So they give you plenty of ways to do.
Yeah, you don't have to complete everything. You do have to. You do have to come close.
Okay.
Because I'd almost 100%ed all the side stuff that you can do by the time I unlocked like the last suit. Not suit itself, but suit mod. Which are just like the little bonuses that you can add. What is next? Something that I didn't agree with a lot of reviewers. When it comes to the combat, I want to talk about the combat a little bit more. A lot of people said, like, well, I didn't really see a reason to do anything other than mash square during normal fights. And
a reason to do anything other? That one combo?
Yeah, just doing the standard combo. And I don't know how they didn't just die over and over and over again. Because there are brutes, which I think you fought. Kingpin was basically a brute where you can't just attack him and he'll just take it without hitting you back. Like you've got to web him up and then attack him. There are like enemy types that are like that. There are snipers that, or just guys with guns that you've got to dodge around. Later, you're able to disarm them and then throw their own gun back at them. That's really fun to do. I was always finding ways to avoid doing the standard combo. What I would like to do is I would like to say uppercut one guy, do an air combo to him, maybe throw him back on the ground with a web attack at the end of it. And then while I'm still in the air, pull up maybe another guy, do an air combo, and then after that, pull up another guy, all while I'm still in the air.
Yeah.
And then I'll come down and do a web swing and knock that guy into the air and do more air combos. Like, it really encourages you. And by the way, any time that you're in the air, landing combos, your focus gauge is building a lot more than it does on the ground. So they really encourage you to stay in the air, to dodge perfectly, to not take damage. You have to dodge to not take damage.
Right.
Like, if a guy is about to shoot you, and you can always tell when they are because of that red
Spidey
beam on
sense.
you, the Spidey sense, you're going to get shot. You can't just jump.
Yeah.
You have to hit that dodge button. So I don't see how there's I got through the game mashing square. No, you didn't. Maybe you played the easy mode.
Maybe they're not including the dodging they had to do. I don't know. When someone says something in a review, I take them literally at their word. Yeah.
So you're probably right, but they need to communicate that better if that's the case. Let's see. Oh, there is something else I can complain about for the controls, and it's a minor gripe. It's not like the level wall crawling is. Mm-hmm. So, when you are swinging through the city, if you swing a little bit too low to the ground, where your swing would you would basically hit the ground and cancel the swing out, the game kind of auto corrects you so that you don't do that. It kind of pulls you up a little bit. It doesn't feel like it, but you're just I should have hit the ground there, and it won't do that. Or there's just some things that, like a lamppost or a traffic light, you just you're going really fast, so it's hard to tell, but it kind of just feels like you're going through things when you're swinging that you normally would come in contact with.
Yeah. So so you're saying if you swing so low where you almost hit the ground, it just moves you up a little bit without
Well, there's almost like a buffer. It will not let you go too low like that.
They should have added a mechanic where if you go to where you hit the ground, he just the web breaks and he just rolls forward and gets back up.
Yeah, I think that would be funny. Then people would if someone was nearby to see that, they could say oh, Spidey just wiped out, something like that.
Yeah, it just kind of rolls and he's just I don't know.
Yeah, that would have been great. I found out today that apparently the developers were considering putting fall damage in the game all the way up until the game released.
Is there fall damage?
There's no fall damage. You can jump all the way from the top of Freedom Tower straight down to the ground, and it's actually cool when you fall a really long way. He kind of does that Iron Man landing where he kind of punches the ground and it actually leaves cracks in the ground where you land.
I don't like that much. They should have done fall damage because Spider-Man's not immune to falling.
Right, and there have been others like Spider-Man 2, the other really great open world Spider-Man game, had fall damage. If you jump from the top of the Empire State Building, you die.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense, but at the same time, it's you should never have to suffer from falling. You can just get to the bottom and web and then land. So there's.
Right. Well, that's the thing. You never took fall damage unless you wanted to take fall damage because you're Spider-Man.
Exactly. So they should maybe in this game he just has the mass of a spider too, and he weighs hardly anything. So when he lands, it's just ding.
Or just the fact that he's been Spider-Man 8 years, he knows how to land now.
Maybe he's got special, since his suit's so high tech, he's got special things in his feet.
Maybe it's their way for saying sorry about the wall crawling. Who knows?
They're just we'll give you no fall damage.
All right, so as far as game content, there's a healthy amount to get through. I would say, it was probably about 25 to 30 hours for me to play all the side stuff.
What's the speedrun time so far? Do you know?
I don't know. I haven't followed it much at all. The side quests, of course, like any side quests, can be a bit tedious and a little bit on the repetitive side, but not much. The thing is if you make an open world game, you're going to have tedious side quests. It's just you should just expect it at this point. There was effort put into each and every one. There's always custom dialogue for every single side event that you do.
Side note, 5 hours is what I found.
5 hours?
Yeah.
Wow. I figured it would be shorter than that, but
really?
Okay.
Wait a minute. Okay, keep going. Let me see if this loads.
So yeah, there's custom dialogue. There's a pretty healthy variety for even if you're doing the same type of mission, it'll play out a different way than the last one did. I would have liked to see the Sinister Six involved more in the game. They break out of the raft at the end of Act 2. So Act 3 really is dealing with Sable agents, which is like this elite police force that Mayor Norman Osborn brings into the city to help the police out because the raft, like all the inmates got released, so it's kind of like a riot situation in New York.
In this universe, like, was Osborn like also the head of like Oscorp? Oscorp, is that Oscorp? Yeah. Was he like that before he became the mayor, or was he just okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, update 3 hours and 49 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
As of 6 days ago.
We're getting there. Yeah. We're getting there. Okay.
So they don't deal with the Sinister Six that much?
Well, they do, but all they do is they break out, and then you do fight Electro twice, or 3 times if you count the raft fight, but you're just chasing him. But yeah, you do kind of fight Electro twice. What was really neat was they paired them up, so you're actually fighting 2 of them at the same time.
2 Electros?
Like, no, 2 of the Sinister Six at the same time.
That's cool.
You fight Electro and Vulture at the same time. You fight Rhino and Scorpion at the same time, and you
all the animals.
Yeah, it kind of is weird, but it kind of reminded me of like fighting Bebop and Rocksteady in Ninja Turtles games, because most of the time you fought them together, not one at a time.
Right.
And those fights were really good. Let me see what else with that. There was a fight with Martin Lee that you fight him the same way twice. That was a little lazy. Like, there's a part where he Martin Lee or Mr. Negative, whatever you want to call him, he has this ability to corrupt other people, and he tries to do it to Spider-Man twice. And when he does do that, you kind of like go into his mind and fight him inside of his mind. It might be your mind that you're fighting him, but either way, you fight him in this like very ethereal landscape, and he turns into like this giant energy demon. And
that's interesting.
It's cool the first time. Then the second time,
they don't really change it up.
They changed it up a little bit, but not by much. The only difference is like they send like these like demon-like things after you that you have to fight in addition to Lee. They just made it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So there was that issue with Martin Lee. Yeah, there were some times when, like, okay, let's just say how I played it. I would do side quests and side missions as they unlocked. But then I would run out of side missions to do, so I would do a story mission. Mm-hmm. Sometimes story missions are literally you swinging over to a location, watching a cutscene, and then that's it. You get like 5,000 experience points just for watching a cutscene.
Oh wow! Like for a story mission, that's
for
it?
A story mission. They're not just because you go to the next part of the story on your map. That doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily play a mission. So that was kind of weird. You may not just see a cutscene. You might walk around looking for the right person to talk to, but it's like super easy to find them. Yeah, that was kind of weird. Almost like an achievement unlock just for you powering on the game. Like, I didn't really do anything here. Why are you rewarding me?
Yeah.
Let's see. There was something I did just think about that was a bit of a qualm that I had. Well, I can't think of it. So let me talk about the story, and again, I'll keep it as spoiler free as possible. Well, I won't say that. I just won't do really bad spoilers, like endgame type stuff. Peter Parker. He's a very likable version of Peter Parker. Like he's He's nerdy. You get to see the scientific side of him a lot in this game. You get to deal with his personal problems, which some games where you're just playing Spider-Man all the time, like they kind of ignore that part of Peter. That he is a regular guy with regular problems. That was kind of like the whole point of Spider-Man. Like a superhero who has normal everyday problems.
You gotta deliver pizza on time.
Yeah, stuff. He's not a billionaire who like owns a tech company that he can use to his advantage.
Which he's super smart, so like why doesn't he? But you know, whatever.
True. Miles Morales is in the game.
Oh.
And if you're familiar at all with this comic book character, I want to say he first showed up in Ultimate Spider-Man, the comic. In that comic, they kill off Peter Parker at one point. I think he comes back. I'm not sure. But they kill him off, and Miles Morales, who also has spider powers, becomes the new Spider-Man. Got a really cool suit, too. It's like black and red. I really dig it. So he's in the game. He has his own playable sections that are similar to the Mary Jane sections, where they're kind of like stealth-based. You have to sneak around. He doesn't have powers?
Okay.
I plead the fifth.
All right.
But, he is in the game, and you play as him normally like you play Mary Jane. Let's see. You, of course, and I do like Miles. Something does happen to Miles that makes him and Peter, like, kind of come closer together. I won't spoil it, but his storyline makes a lot of sense. Mary Jane, a lot of people have been saying that they like this version of Mary Jane Watson. I do not. She gets better. Now, she does get better as the game continues, but in the beginning of the game, she's just ragging on Peter all the time, like saying just annoying little things like, well, this is why we broke up in the first place, and like, you never let me do anything, and you wanted me to like be tied around a laptop. You never wanted me to like to get my hands dirty. She's just like...
They're not together in the game?
No.
That's sad.
They used to be.
Now you're just somebody that I used to know. Remember that one-hit wonder? People throwing it back.
But they do... the game does cover... It does cover their relation... I like how their relationship actually progresses throughout the storyline. It's really good. She becomes a lot better, especially by the end of the game. Like, I'm just kind of like, okay, because honestly, it is a very natural relationship that they have as far as, you know, you dating a superhero can be, because she does know Peter is Spider-Man,
right?
From the beginning of the game, like, she doesn't find out, but she's always known. And it's neat how things progress from where they weren't even, apparently it was a bad breakup, they weren't even talking, then they kind of bump into each other on a mission.
In the game?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Because she's actually an investigative reporter for the Bugle. So you play as her, and like you start talking to each other again, and they do have like a friendship, that their friendship starts to heal. And it is, that part of the story is really nice, but until it gets about probably to that last third of the game, like, Mary Jane is just not a character that I like. So I'm okay with the fact that they didn't just make her another damsel in distress.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, the new direction is just kind of...
I mean, what Mary Jane is likable, though. Did you like the Sam Raimi Mary Jane? I did not.
Not that much either.
And the Zendaya Mary Jane, like, what even is that?
I don't even know. Well, her name is Michelle.
Yeah, the Zendaya MJ, I guess, is the only name.
But
she's
her name is Michelle.
To.
It's not Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Aunt May in this, I feel like the Aunt May in this game is good because she feels like she's not an old, like, frail woman.
She's not an old hag like the one in the Sam Raimi films.
More
like a Sally Field.
She's
not
more like
a
she's
Homecoming,
more like,
but like a Sally Field. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, no, she's not like Homecoming or the MCU version of Aunt May. Anyway,
Marissa Tomei, isn't that who it is that plays her?
I keep forgetting.
Yeah, it's
her
Marissa
name.
Tomei. There was a whole Seinfeld episode about Marissa Tomei. That's the only reason I know. I know about that.
So, but yeah, Aunt May is like, she doesn't even have like gray hair. I think she dyes her hair, but at the same time, like, you know, she's got color in her hair still. She's doing work at Feast, which is this homeless shelter owned by Martin Lee. And the effect that she has on Peter is like, it's felt a lot. Like, I feel like there are a couple of mentors that he has in the game, and she's definitely one of them. And it's just, she's one of the better portrayals I've seen of Aunt May. Next we've got Martin Lee. I didn't think I'd like him that much, but they do. The only thing I wish they had done is believe it or not, even though he's kind of like the marquee villain of the game, like that they've marketed so much with this, he seems a bit underdeveloped. Like, you can piece together his story about like what happened. Like, they do show you, but they don't just like, he doesn't have like a monologue at one point where it's just like, you know, I went through this and I went through that. Like, they don't really spell it out for you. You just kind of have to see something over here and see something over there and be like, oh, okay, well that kind of makes sense. But I wish that they had given him a moment to like explain himself. So the fights with him are always good. That brings us to Otto Octavius. And I will say this because I'm sorry, if Otto Octavius is in the game and he's not Dr. Octopus now, he's going to be by the end of the game.
Spoiler.
Yeah, so Doc Ock is in the game. All right, and it is cool because Peter Parker at his job kind of helps him become Doc Ock, because you are helping him build artificial limbs.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so the way that happens is great. The relationship with Peter and Otto is fantastic. Like, I've never. It's almost like they took the Sam Raimi film Spider-Man 2. You know how Peter Parker and Otto Octavius have a relationship there before he turns into Doc Ock. Imagine that, but just far more developed, much better, and actually having them be co-workers.
Yeah.
And just have them be visionaries. Like, you know, they're so like, Otto's really likable. He's just like, you know, Peter, we're going to change the world. Like, he's just got this whole
charisma.
Like he just wants to help the world, and you can see how that vision becomes corrupted. And it becomes corrupted by history that he has with Norman Osborn, who's the mayor of New York. Well, how do you get back at Norman Osborn? By going after the city he's the mayor of. So that's his whole plan? That's basically his plan. How he gets to that point is explained very well.
And did the arms make him evil at all? Like in the
kind of, but that's more developed.
Okay.
Basically, he gets to the point where, he puts the arms on because he has like a debilitating disease that he's hiding from Peter, and he puts the arms on to like stop it from happening. But Peter looks into it and finds out, oh, this is unstable. Like, we haven't done appropriate testing for this. And Otto makes him believe that he's going to stop wearing it, but he doesn't, and it drives him crazy.
Oh, okay.
So it does have an effect on him.
Wearing it's not something that they surgically like attach to him.
He can take it off, but there is like an inhibitor kind of chip, like from Spider-Man 2 that makes him. Yeah,
that's right. And then it gets broken, and then he goes like,
because he's like this makes sure that I'm the host, and the arms aren't controlling me. It's not the arms controlling him though. It's just basically making his mental state just plummet. But his role in the whole game is really good. The fights with him are done really well. I love the fact that Octavius becomes Doc Ock, and he's like the main villain of the game.
I mean, I don't know. He's kind of a lame villain, though, isn't he? I mean, he's just a guy with arms attached to him in the end.
Yeah, but those arms like can mess up Spider-Man. Like they're
I guess
really
that's true.
tough.
The sad thing is, there's no Venom.
There's no Venom in the game.
We just have a crappy movie to watch at this time instead. Maybe he'll be in the next one.
I think so.
I think what's the studio that made this crap? Insomniac. Yeah, maybe the next one they make.
I think that they will do. But I want them to make a whole game devoted to that whole storyline.
Venom.
Yeah,
and then they could do the other guy too, Carnage. And
that could be the third one.
Did you hear, by the way, about the Venom movie? What they teased at the end?
Yeah, I did. But I don't want to get into that.
And everyone said it was so bad.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that. But let's finish this up first. We've got, and lastly, I do want to talk about Norman Osborn. Of course, Norman Osborn is the Green Goblin in the comics. He is not Green Goblin yet. Which is strange because you have Doc Ock later in the game. You've been Spider-Man for 8 years. You've taken out all these other supervillains, but you don't have Doc Ock. You don't even have Green Goblin. It's like that's completely backwards because in the comics and a lot of the different renditions I've seen of Spider-Man, Green Goblin usually is one of the first villains that he tackles. Yeah. And there is no Green Goblin. So it's kind of reversed.
But who's to say, other guys can't come first? Homecoming... Yeah. Vulture was first.
That's true.
Amazing Spider-Man was Lizard.
Right.
So yeah, villains I would want to see in the next one: Venom, Lizard. I've always loved Lizard. Like when I heard that he was like the villain in Amazing Spider-Man, that I was like super excited.
I think they did a good job with him.
Mysterio too. That'd be cool.
Well, Far From Home is going to have Mysterio.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe they won't go that route since there's going to be a movie with him. And then Green Goblin, old fart Green Goblin up in here, I guess, since it's like way later. And Norman, how old does he look in the game?
He's in his 50s.
Okay, I mean, whatever. Or you can still be
maybe late 40s.
Okay.
But yeah, overall, this is the best Spider-Man game. Period. It has the best combat. Period. It has the best swinging mechanics, even though there are some aspects of it where I'm just like, I wish they had gone more this route from this game. It's still the best swinging.
Best visuals.
By far, best visuals, best story of any Spider-Man game. I will say this about how the ending was a gut punch. Like it went in a direction I wasn't expecting. And I'm still like questioning if I liked how it ended or not. It's done very well. It's so like, and it really encapsulates. Like I've never seen movie, comic, cartoon, whatever you want to say. There's a moment in the ending of Spider-Man for PS4 that perfectly characterizes Peter Parker better than anything else I've ever seen. But it is a gut punch. Like,
sounds intense.
Yeah, like the credits roll and I was just like, oh wow. Huh.
It's not like a cliffhanger, right? No.
It's not a cliffhanger. There are mid-credit and post-credit scenes, but that do definitely hint at sequel material. But of course I won't spoil those here. Yeah, it was just like the way it ends and the way that everything comes together at the end was just done very well. If you have a PS4, please play this game. Like, I can't recommend it enough. Like, I would give it, I give it like a 9.5 out of 10. Like, it is just shy of being perfect. They could make this game better for the sequel. I hope that they do.
Room for improvement.
Just a few little tweaks here and there. But yeah, that's my review of Spider-Man.